Boeing and Airbus have dominated wide-body jets for decades, and China has spent years quietly trying to change that. The plane at the center of it is called the C929, and headlines keep claiming it just triggered a massive shock order. That specific claim doesn't match what's actually been confirmed, and the real story is more revealing than the rumor. The C929 started life back around 2014 under a different name, the CR929, a joint venture between China's COMAC and Russia's United Aircraft Corporation. That original partnership was meant to combine Chinese manufacturing scale with Russian aerospace engineering experience. Russia eventually exited that partnership, and by around 2023 the program was renamed C929 under sole Chinese leadership through COMAC. The aircraft is designed to seat between roughly 280 and 440 passengers, depending on how an airline configures the cabin. That's a wide range, built to let airlines choose between a denser regional layout or a longer, more spacious international configuration. Its targeted range is about 12,000 kilometers, roughly the distance from Shanghai to New York in a single flight. A range like that puts long-haul, transcontinental routes directly within reach for whichever airline eventually operates it. That range would put it in direct competition with the Airbus A330neo and the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Here's where the actual, verified timeline matters far more than any viral headline. As of the most recent reporting into 2026, the C929 has not yet flown a single test flight. No prototype has even been unveiled publicly, and the aircraft has not been certified by any aviation authority. Without a certified, flying aircraft, any large-scale order commitment from international carriers would be an unusually early and risky bet. Its only confirmed launch customer is Air China, a Chinese state-owned carrier, announced at the 2024 Zhuhai Air Show. The exact quantity and delivery timeline of that Air China order were never disclosed publicly. That lack of disclosed detail hasn't stopped speculation from filling the gap online. There is no verified record of a wave of firm wide-body orders from Southeast Asian, Middle Eastern, or African carriers, despite what some headlines suggest. That detail should be treated as speculation, not as a confirmed industry event. In February 2026, COMAC signed a letter of intent with Aviation Systems to supply core avionics for the C929. Aviation Systems is itself a joint venture between GE Aerospace and Avic, tying American and Chinese aerospace engineering directly into the same cockpit. Having a GE-linked supplier building the avionics is a significant technical vote of confidence in the program's direction. That avionics deal is real, documented, and arguably more significant than any rumored order surge. It signals COMAC is actively locking in suppliers years before the aircraft is anywhere close to entering service. For comparison, COMAC existing narrow-body program tells you exactly how slow and difficult this industry actually is. The C919 and C909 lines combined delivered only 41 total aircraft by the end of 2025. That's far short of COMAC own original targets when those programs first launched. COMAC has not yet delivered a single C919 to a carrier outside mainland China, years after the aircraft first entered commercial service. Years of production and deliveries inside China still haven't translated into a single sale to a foreign carrier. If a narrow-body jet with years of head start still hasn't cracked international delivery, a wide-body jet with no completed prototype is even further away. Certification for the C929 is currently targeted around 2032, according to the most recent published program timelines. Program timelines like that are based on COMAC-owned public statements and industry tracking of the project's progress. First commercial flight isn't expected until as late as 2035, nearly a decade from now. So why does the shock order headline keep spreading if none of it has actually been confirmed? Because the real story underneath it is genuinely strong, even without the exaggeration. COMAC received a capital injection of roughly $6.2 billion from Chinese state shareholders in 2024 alone. That kind of state backing is exactly why Boeing and Airbus are watching this program closely, regardless of how many jets have actually been ordered so far. A state-funded aerospace company with direct government support behind it is playing a longer game than any single order announcement could capture. Government backing at that scale can absorb years of losses and delays that would sink a purely private aircraft program. The Aviation Systems avionics deal from February 2026 shows COMAC actively building out the technical backbone the aircraft will eventually need. Air China's confirmed but undisclosed order shows at least one major carrier is willing to commit before the plane has even flown. Committing to an aircraft before it has flown is a significant show of confidence, even without public details on the size of the order. None of that requires inventing a surge of international wide-body orders that no aviation reporter has actually verified. The C919 program's delivery numbers are the clearest evidence of how much distance still sits between COMAC ambitions and reality. 41 total aircraft delivered, against much larger original targets, shows how difficult scaling a new commercial jet program actually is. 0 international deliveries after years in service shows exactly how hard it is to break into markets outside China's own airlines. Regulatory approval, airline trust, and maintenance infrastructure all take years to build in markets outside a manufacturer's home country. The C929 is following that same slow, state-funded, domestically anchored pattern, just at an earlier and even less proven stage. 2032 for certification and 2035 for first flight are the two dates that actually matter here, not any rumored order book. Those dates alone explain why no international shock order could realistically exist yet. The plane doesn't even have a finished airframe. What does exist is a real $6.2 billion capital injection, a real avionics partnership, and one real but undisclosed launch order from Air China. That's a genuinely serious, state-backed challenge to Boeing and Airbus taking shape in slow motion, not a sudden shock event. The honest version of this story is a marathon, not a headline-grabbing sprint. Marathons don't produce viral headlines, but they are what actually determines whether COMAC becomes a real long-term threat to Boeing and Airbus. It's a decade-long, government-funded effort to build China's first real wide-body competitor from the ground up. Every verified milestone so far, the Aviation deal, the Air China order, the $6.2 billion injection, points to steady progress, not a dramatic surge. None of it is dramatic on its own, but together it shows a program moving forward with real state resources behind it. There's one part of this story we haven't covered yet: how COMAC narrow-body struggles are directly shaping engineering decisions on the wide-body program. If you want to see how those two programs actually connect, that full breakdown is waiting for you in the next video on this channel.